In a quiet, charming village, there lived a 16-year-old girl named Leela. Leela came from a modest background and was known for her dedication and hard work, but she always found her studies challenging. No matter how much effort she put in, she couldn't seem to pass her exams, and each setback left her feeling more discouraged. Her classmates seemed to succeed with ease, and Leela's hopes of making her family proud felt more distant with every failed test. One afternoon, as she sat in the garden staring at her latest report card, filled with disappointing marks, her grandmother noticed her sadness and walked over to her. "Lila, come with me for a little walk," her grandmother said gently. They strolled together until they reached an old twisted tree at the edge of their property. With a thoughtful sigh, her grandmother began to share a story. "There was a time when I was just like you, Lila. I faced failures that felt impossible to overcome. When I was your age, I dreamed of becoming a teacher. I wanted to help the children in our village learn and grow. But our family didn't have much, and getting an education was a struggle. Still, I studied as hard as I could, hoping that one day I could change my future." Lila listened closely, her eyes fixed on her grandmother. The older woman's gaze drifted off, as if she was seeing her younger self. "I managed to pass my school exams, but when I went to the city to take the entrance test for the teaching college, I failed. It was the most important exam of my life, and I didn't make it. I remember walking home with that failure weighing on me, too ashamed to look my parents in the eye. I felt like I had let everyone down, including myself. People in the city mocked me, saying I wasn't good enough and should give up on my dreams." Her grandmother's voice wavered, but she pressed on. "But my father, your great-grandfather, told me something I never forgot. He said, 'Real failure isn't falling down, it's refusing to get back up after you fall.'" Lila's eyes grew wide. "What did you do then, Grandma?" Her grandmother smiled, her face a mix of sadness and determination. "I went home with a heavy heart, but I didn't give up. I returned to the city, tried again, and failed once more. I failed several times, in fact. But with every failure, I learned something new. I discovered my mistakes and figured out what I needed to change. In the end, I didn't become a teacher, but I became a librarian, helping children discover the joy of reading. I never stopped trying, Lila. I never stopped learning." Lila stood quietly, taking in her grandmother's words. A sense of calm began to replace her frustration. She realized that her failures weren't the end. They were lessons that could help her grow. Her grandmother gently held Lila's face in her hands. "Failing doesn't mean you're weak, my dear. It means you're still trying, still growing. The only real failure is when you stop trying. You're not failing, Lila. You're learning, and that's what matters most." A wave of relief washed over Lila. For the first time in a long while, she felt hope return. Her setbacks were not the end, but stepping stones, each one teaching her something new. Remember, failure isn't the finish line. It's a part of the journey toward growth, wisdom, and success. Every mistake is a chance to improve, and perseverance is the secret to reaching your true potential. Keep learning and always keep getting back up.